What's up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be adding a player to the New York Giants every season until we can win a Super Bowl. So if you've never seen one of these videos before on YouTube, this is the first one I'm doing of this type, but I've seen a ton of people do them before, and they're very popular. So I figured I'd give it a go and see if we can add a player to the New York Giants until we win a Super Bowl. So the concept is we have a random wheel spin for all 32 NFL teams. Well, 31, not counting the Giants because we're not going to keep our own players. Every season, we will spin that wheel. It'll give us a team, and then we will spin another wheel that I have that is positions, and then we will take the highest rated player at that position on that team and add them to the Giants. So one player every season until we can win a Super Bowl. We're starting with just the base roster the Giants have, and so let's see who our first player is. All right, we are here in our first wheel spin. We're going to be picking our position first, and then we're going to be picking our team. So we'll know what player we're taking as soon as we figure out the team because we'll already know the position. So we're going to go ahead and give it a spin here and see which position we're going to be taking. It'll be a right end. So defensive end will be our first pick, and it does have to be the right end on the team. So, like, you know, if there's a left end that's a 95 and the right end's a 75, we're going to have to take the 75 overall. So we're going to go in here to the team. We're going to give it a good spin and see which team's right end we are going to have to take. It is the Browns. Stop on the Browns. Okay, it did stop on the Browns. So I do want to go in and confirm that Myles Garrett is a right end in the game because that would really suck if he's not. I believe he is. He is. Yeah, and adding Myles Garrett here in year one is going to be huge for the team. The defense is already going to be miles better than it is. So let's get Myles Garrett added to the squad and get going with the first season. All right, and there he is, Myles Garrett. In the blue and red here for the Giants. This is going to be exciting. This is probably, I mean, other than like a top tier quarterback, Myles Garrett's probably the best one we could have grabbed in the first seasons. All right, here's our offense in year one. We have Russell Wilson at quarterback, Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary at running back, Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt at receiver, a decent offensive line, Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger at tight end. On defense, the obvious big addition is Myles Garrett. He slots in at the left edge role on our team since Brian Burns is already at the right edge. Abdul Carter is in there as well. He will be the backup at both edge positions, so capitalizing on as much of the playtime as he can while the other guys are, resting in the middle of games. And the defense looks great. Dexter Lawrence up the middle, Bobby Okereke. We have a really strong corner room. A lot of star players. We have 4 star corners, so love to see that. So we're going to get in here and go ahead and just sim to the playoffs. Everything else is set to auto, so all the progressions, all of that stuff is set to auto. So we'll see how we do in year one. All right, in year one, we go 5-12. We missed the playoffs. A disappointing season. We can head in here and check out the stats, though, and see what we did. Russell Wilson, 18 touchdowns, 12 picks on 3,700 yards. Tyrone Tracy, only 500 yards. Looks like he split the majority of reps. And Russell Wilson had 460 rushing yards as well. Receiving, Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot put up 1,000 yards. Malik Neighbors, 900. Only had 1 touchdown catch the whole year. That's rough. Defensively, this is what we care about. Myles Garrett, 22 sacks. Oh, my goodness. 22 for him. Dexter Lawrence, 13. Brian Burns with 9. And, I mean, that's probably the best start in the first season we could have asked for. So we're going to get on to the offseason, and we are going to add our second player. All right, here in year two, we're going to take our spin to see who our second positional player is going to be, and we are bringing in a free safety. As far as the team, let's see who we have here, and it is going to be a Charger free safety. All right, so at free safety, the Chargers have Alohi Gilman, a superstar free safety, 28 years old, 80 overall, so we're going to be going ahead and trading for him and getting him on the squad for season 2. All right, and then as far as every draft, every season, we are trading our first-round pick every year for the player. So, like, obviously, in the case of Myles Garrett, a first-round pick wasn't enough. So what we did is we went and changed his position to punter. That brings him down from a 98, 99 overall to a 12 overall. And then you trade for him, give him whatever they want. Pretty much anything for a 12 overall will be accepted, even a 7th-rounder. And then you just move his position back, he goes right back up to a 98, 99 overall. So that's how you do that. If there's another way that people do it and I just don't know, I'm not aware of it, that's fine, but that's always how I've done it. So we have Alohi Gilman now on the squad. The draft, like I said, we're just going to be simming through that, the rest of the picks, so whoever it picks up for us, that's great. We're going to get into year two. All right, starting the sim of year 2, Russell Wilson no longer on the team. Jackson Dart starting at quarterback. So 72 overall, normal dev. Like I said, everything is set to auto, so all the progression he does during the season, it will count. He will get his upgrade points added immediately throughout the sim. Um, I'm hoping he's around an 80 overall at the end of his second season. Obviously, now that he's playing, he'll progress a little bit faster. If it'd be ideal to get a quarterback next, or maybe a receiver, but we'll see when we get out of the sim. All right, in year 2, we went 7-10, so definitely a better record than the 5-12 we did in our first season. 20 to 18 touchdown to interceptions for Jackson Dart, 3,500 yards, completed 63% of his passes, 865 yards, 6 touchdowns for Tyron Tracy. Definitely a better season running the ball. Receiving, Jalen Hyatt almost led the team, or did lead the team, had 12 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors, again, only 1 touchdown catch, almost 900 yards. So, again, a really weird season for Malik Neighbors. And then Myles Garrett had 14 sacks, 11.5 for Abdul Carter, Brian Burns 8, Dexter Lawrence 8.5. So not a bad season for any of them. Again, Myles Garrett just dominating. We will see what we can do here going into year 3 to try and add another player. We're going to see what the wheel gives us. All right, we are here in year 3. We have taken free safety and right edge off of the board. Totally forgot to do that when we did our second spin, but they are both off the board. The teams can stay on because obviously different players at different positions we can get from the same team. So we're going to spin here, see what position we add, and it will be a right tackle. It will be. So a right tackle, and then as far as the team, you see what right tackle. A lot of teams with really, really strong right tackles, and that will be the Broncos right tackle. Okay, so currently the Broncos don't actually have a right tackle. We are right before the draft, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sim the draft and see what ends up happening. But if they don't have a right tackle after the draft, we might just end up re-rolling, or I'll take their left tackle. So let's sim the draft here and see what it comes out to be, and then I'll let you guys know. Okay, well, the Broncos did end up drafting a right tackle, a 64 overall 21-year-old out of Buffalo, 6'7", almost 340. Shouldn't be too crazy difficult to trade for him. We'll probably have to give him like a 3rd and a 4th round pick. But we're going to go ahead and make this trade, add him to the team. He probably won't even start for us. We did, the CPU drafted a right tackle for us in this draft, so yeah, we're definitely going to have to give up a little bit more for this since it is a rookie. There we go. But yeah, we did draft, the CPU drafted a right tackle. You can go in here and check it out. Owen Payton out of Ole Miss. So he's a 73 overall, so he'll start at right tackle. So again, that's the risk you have to take. One of those guys is just going to be a throwaway. This, unless we are just incredibly above average this season, it's going to probably be another year we have to just get through it quick and get to another player. So we'll go ahead and start simming this season. Right, simming here in year 3. Obviously did not add a player that is going to have a impact at all on the squad this season, but I would really love to be above 500 for the first time. I think a 9-8 or even a 10-7 record would be a good mark to hit. Hopefully make the playoffs for the first time and see what we can do in this season. But yeah, we're going to get through the sim here and then check out what we need to do for that. All right, well, right on cue, we do go 10-7. We can check out the regular season, see what happened here. Started off 5-0. Wow, had a 3-game losing skid, and then finished the season with 2 losses. So could have been even better if we didn't end up faltering midway through the year. Wow, great season. So we're just going to go ahead and sim week by week. If we make the Super Bowl and win it, that is the video. Hopefully that's not the case. I'd love to add some more players here. We do beat the Packers 28-22. So we're going against the 12-5 Commanders here in the divisional round, and we do lose. So we'll get on to the offseason and add our next player. All right, well, maybe quarterback is not what we want. Jackson Dart up to a 88, playing up to. He is an 83 with Star Dev heading into year 4. We have a right guard that the CPU drafted that is a superstar, a CPU drafted superstar receiver behind Malik Neighbors and Darius Slayton. So a good team. We are going into year 4. We're going to go ahead and do our wheel spin and see who we can add to the squad this season. All right, so we are going to go ahead and take right tackle off of the board and then see who we can add to the squad this season. So So we are spinning for our position, and it will turn out to be a tight end if it stops, and it does. Honestly, corner wouldn't have been bad either, but we will add a tight end. And I mean, the big one would be Brock Bowers. If we can get the Raiders tight end, it will not be. It'll be the Cowboys tight end. All right, we're going to add the Cowboys tight end. All right, we're going to be adding Jake Ferguson to these squads. We're going to see what it takes to actually get him. We're going to trade a first rounder at first and see, and that is accepted right away. So, like I said, we've been trading our first rounders to try and get these players onto the squad. Myles Garrett was a little more difficult, but we added Jake Ferguson to the squad. We'll get on to year 4. All right, we added Jake Ferguson to the squad. This is the team heading into year 4. And Malik Neighbors, we have another superstar dev. Receiver, a superstar dev. Left guard, who did play right guard last year, moved to left guard this year with Jake Runyon being at right guard now. Abdul Carter, we have Myles Garrett, and then Dexter Lawrence obviously up the middle still. So we have a very good team. Hopefully we can get back to the playoffs this season and see if we can win a Super Bowl. Obviously, again, would love to add more players and just continue stacking this lineup. But if we can win a Super Bowl, that'd be great too. All right, well, here in year 4, a 5-12 record. We're going to head in here and see. That is the wrong button. Going to head in here and see what happened to make it a 5-12 record. Injuries are on, so that could have been a scenario where we had someone get hurt. And it looks like at least our left guard did. Jackson Dart doesn't look like he got hurt. Jake Ferguson's still there. On the defensive side of things, Myles Garrett doing his thing. Abdul Carter up to a 95. Dexter Lawrence still a 99 overall X Factor. So we can take a look at the stats here before we get on to next season. And yeah, Jackson Dart had a good year, 29-6. Touchdown to interception, 3,600 yards. Rushing, Cam Scatabo took over as the lead back. We lost Tyrone Tracy, it looks like. Yeah, he's not on the team anymore. And then receiving, just not a bad season. Malik Neighbors finally over 1,000 yards, has 10 touchdowns. Darius Slayton with 10 as well. Jake Ferguson had 500 yards and 1 touchdown. So not the worst tight end season, but definitely could have been better. Defensively, we can go in here, 24.5 sacks for Abdul Carter. Myles Garrett had 11.5, 9 for Dexter Lawrence. So Abdul Carter really coming into his own in the NFL in this franchise. We'll head on to next season. I won't bore you guys with that, and we'll pick our next player. All right, we are here. We're going to go ahead and spin for our position. Would love to see something on defense. It'll be wide receiver, though. Honestly, not the worst pick. And then as far as what wide receiver we will be picking up, it will be Cowboys. It'll be CeeDee Lamb we are going to be taking from the Cowboys. That is what you want to see. And so with that, we add a big weapon for Jackson Dart on offense beside Malik Neighbors. All right, so this is where it gets a little tricky. Like with Myles Garrett, it's a little bit tricky to trade for those high-value players. And CeeDee Lamb, obviously, is going to be the highest-rated receiver on the Cowboys. So we can come in here and take a look at him. All we have to do is change his position to punter. Sometimes you have to lower their awareness to bring the overall down a little bit more. I'll normally change it to punter or like quarterback or like long snapper, just random positions. But you can see we go in here to punter now. And he is a 57 overall. So we should easily be able to trade for him now. If not, we can go and lower his awareness and then do it. So yeah, CeeDee Lamb will get in return for a first-round pick. We'll change his position back to receiver and then head on to the season. And then while we're simming the draft here, heading into year 5, another key piece is the salary cap is off. Obviously, adding all these big contracts with these big-name players wouldn't be possible if it was. So salary cap is turned off. So if you want to do this for yourself, that is how it works. Just go into the settings, turn it off. So we will head in here and go ahead and just see what we can do in year 5. A 5-12 record, not what we expected. Didn't look like Jackson Dart got hurt, had a full season's worth of stats. So we'll just go ahead and sim right to the playoffs here and see what we can do. All right, so here in year 5, 11-6 is the record. Made the wildcard playoffs against the 8-9 Seattle Seahawks. We'll head in here and check out the stats real quick for Jackson Dart and the squad. 25 touchdowns, 8 picks for Jackson Dart. Looks like the backup, Max Davis, had to come in and play a little bit for him. Rushing, Damian Rice, who is a third-year player, has 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. Receiving, A random receiver led our squad. That is great. 13 touchdowns for him. 9 for CeeDee Lamb with 1,100 yards, 80 catches, 70 catches, 840 yards, and 5 touchdowns for Malik Neighbors. So, again, not a bad season. Jake Ferguson in there, 500 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, we can check it out here as well. And we had 3 guys over 10 sacks. 18.5 for Abdul Carter, 16 for Myles Garrett, 13.5 for Dexter Lawrence. So, a great team on defense here. So we're going to check out what we can do in the playoffs going up against the Seahawks. Hopefully we can beat the 8-9 Seahawks here in the wildcard round and move on to the divisional. We do playing the Chicago Bears at 12-5. We'll see if we can beat the Bears here in year 5 in the playoffs to advance. We do not. So 11-6, we fall to the Bears 42-28. We will head on to the offseason and pick our next player. All right, we have taken receiver off the board, and we're going to go ahead and spin the wheel here, see who we have to add. It'll be a middle linebacker. That is what you like to see. And then as far as the team, we'll go ahead and spin it. A lot of good middle linebackers here in the NFL, and we will take the Lions middle linebacker, so we're going to see who we have to pick up. All right, so in the game, it will be the Mike linebacker position we are taking from, and it will be Jack Campbell, 30 years old, 86 overall. As always, we'll offer the first-round pick for him and then get him on the squad and start next season. All right, heading into year 6, CeeDee Lamb is superstar, 97 overall. Malik Neighbors drops down to star at a 94 overall. Jackson Dart up to an 86 star dev. Jake Ferguson there, 81 star dev. We have a superstar X Factor receiver here, a superstar X Factor on the other side at wide receiver 4. On the defensive side of things, Abdul Carter, Myles Garrett down to superstar. Dexter Lawrence still doing his thing. Jack Campbell in there at superstar as well. Cordell Flott is now a superstar dev corner at an 84 overall. And Drew Phillips is an 85 on the first cornerback roster spot. So we're going to head in here, sim out this season. Hopefully we can make the playoffs again and have a really, really good year and maybe win a Super Bowl. All right, 11-6 is our record here in year 6, and we're going to be going up against the 10-7 Green Bay Packers. We can check out these stats like normal. Jackson Dart had 4,400 yards, 36 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Damian Rice again led rushing. Receiving, CeeDee Lamb had 900 yards and 4 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors, 856 and 6. Jake Ferguson, 612 yards and 4 touchdowns. Definitely his best season in a Giants uniform. Defensively, we can go in here. Jack Campbell, 114 tackles, led the team by a mile. 4 TFLs, half a sack. 18.5 for Abdul Carter. Myles Garrett, 12.5. Dexter Lawrence only had 4. Looks like he was probably hurt a little bit during the season. Normally when he is healthy, he is good for at least 10 to 10.5 sacks. So we will get out here and head in and see if we can win this wild card round matchup. All right, we lose. We will head on to year 7 and add another player. All right, we are spinning here to see which position we are taking next. It'll be right outside linebacker. Not a bad position to add to the squad. We can go in here to the team spin and see who we need to add. All right, and we'll be adding an outside linebacker from the Chiefs to the squad now. All right, and it would be the Sam linebacker. It'll be Leo Chenal at an 89 overall that we will be adding onto the squad. And we will go ahead and be trading our first-round pick towards the Chiefs. That is declined. We're going to have to add a little bit more. We'll go ahead and just add a bunch of picks here. That should be confirmed. It is Leo Chenal. Welcome to the Giants. Let's get on to year 7. All right, as we sim here to the start of the season to get going on year 7, I will say if we do not win the Super Bowl this season adding Leo Chenal, we will start adding 2 players every year in year 8 and beyond until we can win a Super Bowl, so we can go ahead and sim here to the playoffs and see what we can do in year 8. All right, here in year 7, we are going up against the Minnesota Vikings, 11-6 record. Again, for us, 10-7 for them. We'll go ahead and sim here and see what we can do to win a playoff game and try and make a deep playoff run. We do beat the Vikings 24-19 here, going up against the 12-5 Cardinals now. Let's take a look at the stats real quick before we get into this game. Jackson Dart, not a bad year. Well, I say not a bad year. Had a fantastic year. 32 touchdowns, only 3 picks, almost completed 70% of his passes. Damian Rice, almost 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors, 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 1,000 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jake Ferguson, 600 yards and 5 touchdowns. So his best season again. Had 71 catches. On the defensive side of things, we can go in here and check it out. Abdul Carter, 18 sacks, 13.5 from Myles Garrett. Dexter Lawrence starting to slow down a little bit at the end of his career, 9.5. Not a bad season at all. Tackles wise, it looks like Leo Chenal had 73. And looks like Jack Campbell had 49. Looks like he might have been hurt part of the year. So that sucks. Had one TFL, half a sack, had a pass deflection. But yeah, looks like he was hurt some of the year, so that sucks. But hopefully in the playoffs he can make a difference and we can win the Super Bowl. All right, we're simming here. 12-5 Cardinals. We are 11-6. Seeing if we can beat them, and we do. We make it to the NFC Championship game. Beat them 33-9 in the sim. Without the injury, it was Andrew Thomas. 3 to 5 weeks with a dislocated elbow. Looks like Dante Pollard, a younger player that we drafted, the CPU drafted, is a 79 overall, out with a foot fracture, 3 to 5 weeks. And then Ethan Saxton, our center, 77 overall, 25-year-old, out for 2 to 4 weeks with an ab tear, an abdomen tear. So we'll be without them if we do end up making the Super Bowl. 14-3 Atlanta. We are 11-6, like I said earlier. See if we can beat the Falcons. And looks like we will be playing the Bills in the Super Bowl. Confirmed it there when we click to advance the week. So did beat the Falcons. Don't know the score. Should show us after we sim. It did not. Okay. Well, we can check out and see here. Looks like we beat them 35-21. So a very good game for us. We are in against Buffalo in the Super Bowl. So 14-3 Buffalo, 11-6 New York. And we are going to see if we can take down what I'm assuming is the AFC's 1 seed in the Bills in the Super Bowl here in 2031. It's been a long time coming. Hopefully we can pull it off here. And we do. I don't know if it's flipped like it was last. No, it is. Giants win 38-10. Last year there was a glitch where I don't know if you guys remember, but it would flip the score for the Super Bowl week for some reason up in the top. So wanted to come in here and confirm. Jackson Dart wins Super Bowl MVP. We win the Super Bowl. And wow, what a good game. 38-10. That is a crazy score. Finally win the Super Bowl here in year 7 of adding a player to the New York Giants every season until we win a Super Bowl. Took us 7 years, added 6 players, because I don't really count the right tackle that we added because he didn't really contribute anything. So added all of our guys on offense and defense. I think I want to start doing more of these random wheel spin videos. They're fun. They're easy to pump out. And I like the challenge of not really knowing where the video is going to go depending on who we add to the team. Especially with a guy like that right tackle, 65 overall, he's not going to be on the team much longer. He didn't even play a snap for us, I'm pretty sure. So that's kind of fun. I loved that we added CeeDee Lamb. We added Myles Garrett, added Leo Chenal, Jack Campbell from the Lions. So we added a lot of good talent. Jake Ferguson as well. So we added a couple of Cowboys. And so it was a good video. I think that, it took us 7 seasons. Honestly, I was hoping it would have taken more so we could add more players to the team, see just how crazy we could go. But after 7 seasons, we win a Super Bowl with the New York Giants, adding a player every year. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy this type of content and this new type of video, click the subscribe button, leave a like on the video, let me know that you're enjoying the content, and I will see you guys in the next one.